Well, happy Monday. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. What a weekend it was. The news cycle does not stop, not even for the Super Bowl. But that's our YouTube live chat poll for today is grade the Super Bowl. Our standard grading system applies A, B/C, D, or F. We're going to talk about it a little bit throughout the show. There have been years where I have completely and totally not paid any attention to it. And I very, very personally offended by what the NFL and Stan Kroenke and Jerry Jones and all of these people who just swim in their piles of money did to St. Louis. But it really, if somebody hurts you that way, like it was an emotional thing to lose the St. Louis Rams, right? If somebody hurts you that way and some time passes, maybe you come to the place where you're kind of maybe growing a little bit, you kind of callous to that. You can grow past it or whatever. But watching the NFL be dumb in the wake of losing the Rams, it was so easy to be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. You screwed us over. You don't even have a football-centric product anymore. Goodbye.
Absolutely. You couldn't have encapsulated my thoughts toward the NFL any better. It was just too easy to not care.
Yeah. When I mean, the last year they were in St. Louis was the hands up, don't shoot thing, right? When they came out of the tunnel with their hands up.
Oh my
was
gosh.
a bull crap
yes.
thing. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I lose track. But if you're in St. Louis and you've been personally affected by the arrogance of the NFL, of people like Stan Kroenke, that to me is the beginning of my disgust for the NFL, is how the NFL treated us. Then on top of it is all the woke crap that infiltrated what I would like to think of. You know, I'm a baseball girl. I like baseball. I like watching baseball the most, I think. But watching football is so freaking fun. And I was watching the Super Bowl yesterday, and it really was ironic. My husband is still like, he's never been an NFL guy. Yay, go Rams, whatever. But he's always liked college football. I've talked about how he's a big Notre Dame fan. My son 15-year-old went to his buddy's house. So they had a buddy thing, which was good that he went there. My brother-in-law had a party, invited us over, but I have felt sick, been sick. Molly was sick on Friday, so we were just trying to stay low. So Sunday turned into my husband was in the kitchen like the majority of the time. And my oldest daughter and I were sitting in our PJs watching the Super Bowl and the commercials and taking all of that stuff in. It was just kind of like not how you picture the All-American Super Bowl party. But I have to say, I was incredibly pleased watching the football game. I think I was rooting for the Chiefs by default going into it, but as the Chiefs just completely sucked, there was nothing to cheer for the Chiefs.
There was no air in the balloon
the
start.
I think the only time it was truly exciting was with 2 minutes left to go in the game, 2.5 minutes left to go in the game, when Mahomes throws 70 yards to Worthy and they caught it. That was
a good
wild.
play. One play.
Too late. Too late for it to matter. But when the Eagles were doing their thing, I wasn't mad about it. So I always find myself in a position of watching a big sporting event where, like, air quotes, my team isn't playing. I eventually, usually quicker than not, just gravitate towards a team. I didn't care at all yesterday. I was indifferent. Maybe if the Chiefs would have dominated the way the Eagles would have, I would have felt differently. But I never was, like, pulling for anybody. But it was such a bad football game. It was hard to find anything to pull. I mean, it was just it was not predetermined. Some people think that. Excuse me. I have no notes. I have no inside information. The football was not good. But that was even better for me because the football didn't get away of the event, which is what I wanted to pay attention to. Not because I wanted to sit down and be entertained, but I wanted to study. I want to see in the Donald Trump world, where Donald Trump is going to be present at this Super Bowl game, where you have just a different air about the country right now. I wanted to see what all of these people who are just pumping money into this huge, huge event, I wanted to see what they found valuable, because where people spend money in our country is very indicative of where they think the culture is going. And where the culture is going is where the politics actually follow. The culture will lead the way, and the politics will quickly follow that. And I think that the Super Bowl is a really, really incredible measuring stick for where the culture is, which, going back to my original statement, which is why I didn't want to watch the NFL for so long, because their representation of culture sucked. It's like not anything that I want to expose my children to, that I want to expose myself to. I was disinterested in it. And there are things that took place yesterday at that Super Bowl game that, yes, if you're watching the football game, if you were there for the football, and I totally understand people who were, you probably thought it was one of the worst. Just because, especially in this area, maybe you were a Chiefs fan. Maybe that was personally effective to you. It wasn't to me. But I want to talk throughout the course of the show. We're going to hit on this in the 2 o'clock hour, at the beginning of the 2 o'clock hour as well, about what yesterday's Super Bowl means as a benchmark for our culture, for our society, for what is coming ahead. I have to say, I think the future looks very, very bright. I could not believe one of the things that was very, very obvious to me, and I kind of live tweeted some of it. I didn't hashtag anything. I just don't want to play the game. I also don't want to fight with people. So a lot of times when I'm tweeting things, I'm really doing it so that I can talk about it later on the show and I have a place to mark it. You remember when Dylan Mulvaney, this is a really, really good example. Dylan Mulvaney is an influencer who probably, if all publicity is good publicity, he might have gotten the most publicity out of any advertisement ever. And my understanding is they sent like a package to him and was like, here's some free Bud Light and some stuff. And then Dylan Mulvaney, who's an influencer, shows it to his audience. Well, it did not go well. Bud Light really missed the mark on that, and it's pretty obvious that Bud Light knows that. They're not in a position right now where they're still trying to figure out where the problem is or was. They are definitely searching for a solution. We'll talk about the Bud Light ad a little bit later. But influencers, social media influencers as the avenue to market your product, listen to some of these people who were used in advertisements and marketing for products during the Super Bowl, or as employed, I assume, by the NFL themselves to talk about the game and to fluff it up. Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Harrison Ford, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Kevin Costner, Antonio Banderas, Morgan Freeman, Samuel L. Jackson, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Matthew McConaughey. These are the A-list of A-list stars in Hollywood. And they were in Super Bowl commercials? That, to me, shows a dramatic shift in where Hollywood ranks in our lives. Why? Because I think it's actually kind of beneath the likes of these high profile Hollywood stars to come be in some sort of 30-second spot during Super Bowl, or to be the person who, I guess, it's just kind of laughable to me because it's just definitely not for me. I don't need Tom Cruise to pump me up before the Super Bowl game.
I do.
Well, I think there's a difference here. Plus, I can't handle Tom Cruise, non-movie Tom Cruise. There's something about him that looks just a little added.
Like if you saw him in person, you'd go, I think I might still be looking at a screen.
Now, I want to touch his face and see what happens. I want to see if it moves. Does it fall off? I mean, he's such a handsome man, for sure. Maverick, he's so great in that. I think that it seems like he's aged really well, but then you see him in those types of things that aren't like super Hollywood produced, I guess. And I just wonder about it.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Costner, total smoke show. Am I right?
Yep.
It's okay. You can admit it.
Handsome
man when you see it.
I can. I don't think about that when I look at
Brad
Kevin
Pitt.
Costner.
You look good.
He's a handsome man.
Yeah.
I don't think about that when I look at Kevin Costner.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth's a handsome man.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's a hottie.
Yeah. It's interesting that that's where you went with Chris Pratt.
He's a good guy. He's a good man.
Don't you think that they kind of are graduates out of needing to do Super Bowl commercials?
Yeah, it's odd because the world we live in now, there's so much cross promotion that you have to keep doing things to stay relevant. Whenever I saw Chris Pratt promoting the Monopoly game, I was like, what in the world is going on? Oh, it's because he's in the Monopoly movie. So
I didn't see that.
Yeah, him and
I was talking
Jason
about
Momoa.
No, I didn't see that. The one I saw was the Meta glasses.
Yeah, and this is outside of Super Bowl. But I think a lot of these people they get into contracts first of all that are all encompassing now. So they're just having to do more.
Yeah, but that's different. The Monopoly thing is not a Super Bowl thing. I'm
But
talking
Super
about
Bowl-
coming to Super Bowl. Is there a bigger day in television advertising than the Super Bowl?
No, this is it.
So this is where you go to put your best foot forward. It just seems to me like some of these Hollywood A plus listers are above it, but I guess they're not anymore. I think Hollywood has been knocked down so many notches right now that I don't think that Kevin Costner needed work. I don't think that he was there because he needed the money. But if he cares about Hollywood, if he cares about, I mean, good Lord, we've seen Tom Cruise's advocacy for the theater, experiencing movies the way they were intended. I love that he cares about that because in the same vein of watching Tom Cruise advocate for the production of an experience that should be, a 4D effect in a theater, making a movie like Maverick and going all in on it, he had to also invest in a story that people wanted to see. And when you see these super A-listers, that Jeep ad with Harrison Ford was chef's kiss. The Jeep ad that had Bruce Springsteen in it last year or the year before was one of the most railed ads. Jeep made a 180 and put Harrison Ford in it, and Harrison Ford was talking about all of the things that are great, that are truly great. It was an acknowledgement of a country that I feel like I used to know, that over the last 10 to 15 years, we've been force-fed a different understanding of what we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to know. As they continue to repeat, the Democrats and the far left progressive wing of the Democratic Party has worked overtime to redefine what you understand to be your problems. And they did that so they could sell you the solutions to them. And when you watch the Super Bowl, what's the wokest thing that you saw yesterday?
The national anthem beforehand, or the Black national anthem.
They didn't call it the Black National Anthem.
But they didn't call it that.
They didn't refer to it. They played Lift Every Voice. It was the very first thing that they did in production. America the Beautiful played afterwards. I'm here to say this, and maybe you guys completely disagree with me. Who cares if they play Lift Every Voice? It's a beautiful song. It's a Christian song, right? It's an acknowledgement of a Christian faith. There's religion that is involved in it, and if you want to sing that song, sing that song. Don't refer to it as the Black National Anthem. They didn't. Then they played America the Beautiful by a Christian singer, and then they played the national anthem.
That's an interesting perspective. I haven't heard anybody say that.
I think it's a win. I think it's a shift. And if you want to play that, if that's a song that makes people feel like they're celebrating the country, and you're playing America the Beautiful next, it's not like the Black National Anthem, the White National Anthem, and then the national anthem. Here are some songs that celebrate our country. I'll go reread them again, but I've done it pretty much every year when this happens. There's nothing in Lift Every Voice that makes me, like, if that song just was handed to me and I just read it, I'd be like, okay. What am I missing something on the song? It's the woke culture that has tried to make it this thing.
Yes.
And it was still in there. It was the very first thing that they did. I thought it was performed fine. I didn't have a problem necessarily with the performance. And then they moved on to America the Beautiful. And then they did the national anthem. I thought the national anthem was great. I think people are here and there on that.
Yeah, I did too. I thought America the Beautiful was fantastic with Lauren Daigle. I thought even their rendition of it was cool.
It was New Orleans, so that matters.
And I kind of, to be honest with you, with the Lift Every Voice thing, we were milling about and eating, and it was on in the background. And I didn't really notice it, and it was later that I saw people commenting on it. So my experience was very secondhand.
Sure, but I think it's important, exactly what you're saying, because everybody was talking about the Black National Anthem. I don't think we need to put that song away and never bring it out again because some idiots tried to force feed it to us in a way that was not genuine. if the song does have a national significance to our country, if we want to sing it in the same context, if we're not introducing it as the black national anthem and then the white national anthem or whatever it might be,
it's very true.
Then look for the wins, not the losses here. And I think that the way it was set up, if it maybe it was a compromise, but I don't even care that it's didn't ruin my day to hear it.
Well, if it is a shift, I mean, like you're saying, if they went out of their way to not try to separate the country and call it something that would be, something that we would go, why are you trying to delineate between white and black at the Super Bowl? Why are you doing that? If they moved away from that, like you're saying, that is a shift.
Yeah, and it should be noted. And it might be a minor detail, but it's an important detail. Because again, I was watching yesterday specifically for the purpose and the intent of seeing where has the culture gone. We're going to talk more about this throughout the course of the show, so stick with us and definitely give us your comments. JR just said national anthem, not well done, in his opinion. I thought it was good. I loved it. I like the New Orleans portion of it, too, which if you're in New Orleans and you understand how important music is to that area, you're going to know that, if you put the New Orleans flair on it, it's going to sound different than it sounds other places. So I kind of understand why people, if people are just sing the national anthem. Just do the Whitney Houston. Anybody can just do that. And just do the national anthem. I'm not mad if New Orleans does it in their New Orleans way. More talk about that. A lot of comments coming in on the Andy Frey YouTube channel, but we want to take a break. My friend Stuart Rosenblum, our partner here with Stewart's American Mortgage, is coming in studio. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. The market. This is, I think, maybe the second time that we've had him in since Trump won, but the first time we've had him in since Trump's been in office. So let's find out what the market might bear here in the near future. Stewie has a great inside look of all of this type of stuff, and he's going to join us in studio. If you've got questions for my friend Stewie, you can put them in the YouTube chat as well. We'll be right back.